All right, today we're diving into a really fascinating idea called reality transurfing. It comes from the author Vadim Zeland, and the core concept is pretty wild. What if you could stop fighting against reality and instead just choose a different one? You know that feeling, right? Life can feel like it's just a series of black and white stripes. You have a great streak, and then bam, a string of bad luck hits. It feels like we're just passengers on a ride we can't control. But what if we're not? So here's our roadmap for today. First, we're going to look at these invisible forces Landsland says are kind of pulling our strings. Then we'll get into how our own thoughts play into all this. And finally, we'll explore the transurfing way to, well, ride the wave of success and actually choose your reality. Okay, let's start with a really interesting and, frankly, kind of unsettling idea Zeland calls pendulums. He argues that these invisible structures are behind a lot of our day-to-day struggles and why we feel so drained all the time. So what in the world is a pendulum? Well, think of it like this. When a bunch of people all start thinking in the same direction with the same emotion, they create this energy structure. And here's the thing, this pendulum doesn't care if you're happy or angry. It feeds on any strong emotion. Love, hate, joy, fear. It just wants that energy to keep itself going. And these things are on a huge spectrum. You can see here, on one end, you've got something pretty harmless, like a beach volleyball club. Sure, it runs on the group's energy, but if you decide to leave, no big deal. But on the other extreme, you have really destructive pendulums, like criminal gangs, which don't just take your energy, they can threaten your freedom, even your life. Okay, so if these pendulums are all around us, what actually hooks us into them? How do we end up feeding them our energy? Well, according to Zeland, it all starts with what he calls the boomerang of thought. This is really the central mechanism of transurfing. The idea is that the energy you broadcast with your thoughts, it doesn't just disappear. It actively tunes your reality. It's what determines which potential version of your life, which lifeline, as he calls it, you actually get to experience. This slide lays it out perfectly. Let's say you just hate your current house. You're constantly putting out this energy of dissatisfaction. The theory says that even if you move into your dream home, you'll just find new things to be unhappy about because you're still tuned to that same negative frequency, that same lifeline. So why? Why do our thoughts have this kind of magnetic power? This brings us to a really fundamental force in the transurfing model, something Zeland calls the law of balance. This imbalance has a name. Excess potential. It's created anytime you mentally make something way too important. It could be intense desire, deep-seated fear, or even just massive irritation. You're basically creating a kind of energetic tension in the world around you. This is the perfect analogy from the book. Imagine you're standing on a plank of wood on the floor. No big deal, right? Now, put that exact same plank between two skyscrapers. The physical act of standing on it is identical, but your mind assigns it massive life or death importance. That intense fear, that focus, that's what creates a powerful, energetic disturbance. That's excess potential. And here's the kicker. When you create that excess potential, the universe supposedly sends out balancing forces to get things back to neutral. This is Zeland's explanation for what we sometimes call the law of meanness. You know, when you want something desperately, it seems to run away from you, or if you absolutely hate something, it keeps showing up, that's the balancing forces at work. Okay, so we've talked about the problems, pendulums, negative thought loops, this trap of excess potential. So what's the solution? Zeland says it's not about fighting harder. It's about learning to ride what he calls the success wave. So a success wave is the total opposite of a pendulum. It's this neutral flow of energy, like a cascade of good luck. You can see in the table, it doesn't want to drain you. It wants to carry you forward. It's like a current in the ocean that can carry a tired swimmer to shore. It's just there. The trick is learning how to get in it. So what is it exactly? It's basically a collection of positive lifelines all grouped together. When one small good thing happens, if you can tune your energy to that little success, you can catch the wave and get carried into a whole stream of good fortune. So how do you actually do that? How do you catch the wave? Well, the key isn't to struggle or to force it. It's all about shifting your internal state. You consciously decide to reduce the importance of things, you celebrate every little win to build momentum, and you start training your mind to look for the good signs. It's about aligning yourself with that positive flow. And all of this leads us to the final and honestly the most profound idea in the entire transurfing framework, the ultimate power to actually choose your reality. This is the biggest concept of all, the stream of variance. Zealand proposes that reality isn't just one thing. It's an infinite information space that contains every possible version of the past, present, and future. Everything that could ever happen already exists as a potential reality in this field. In this right here, this slide is the ultimate takeaway. According to Transurfing, we aren't creating our ideal life out of thin air. We're selectors. By controlling our thoughts, by letting go of that intense importance, by not getting hooked by pendulums, we're simply choosing to tune into a different movie, a different pre-existing reality from that infinite stream. And so that leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. Are you spending your life fighting your current reality, trying to wrestle it into submission? Transurfing offers a totally different path. What if you could stop fighting the current and just learn how to step into a different stream altogether?